I'm meteorologist Hermon City. It is Sunday mornings. Isolationism. Things are getting worse. Now we're stuck. Everybody's getting stuck at home, told to stay home. Alrighty, since we all got to stay home in our houses now, might as well look at the weather and talk about the weather. Um, Yesterday we had the severe weather all through the midsection of the country, some tornado activity as well as down in Arkansas, some tornado activity there. I'll show you that in a second. And today the heavy thunderstorms are going to be over here. There's some thunderstorms wandering around this morning, but nothing too particularly heavy. One of the issues we're starting to see is, again, been talking about this, that a lot of areas are seeing a soggy conditions that will eventually lead to some more flooding problems as more storms come along. One of the big issues we're going to be having now is the NEO is going to crash and burn, and that means we have to start looking for the coast during the first couple of weeks of April in terms of coastal storms. Certainly, the northeastern part of the country is going to stay relatively on the cool side. Was the PNA goes a little bit positive, NEO goes negative. Again, I'm going to show you that in a second too. All right, so we got some showers and thunderstorms from New York State all the way down into Tennessee. Rain and snow back here across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes this morning. And some warm air is going to come flying in once the cold air damming gets out of the way of parts up here in the Appalachians. I know a lot of people have been stuck in the muck with the cold air damming going on. We just can't seem to get out of it. A satellite picture this morning. Pull it down a little bit. There you go. You can see a really well wrapped up storm up here across western Great Lakes with the cold front sort of stretching out like that this morning. The warm front is sort of in here like this. You have a lot of cold air damming going on, meaning that the cold air is banked up against the east slopes of the Appalachians, and it takes a while to erode all that cold air out of the way because it's denser and it's harder to get rid of. But eventually it will get out of there. You can see here's the cold front this morning, warm front. This is the cold air damming area this morning. Warm air is riding up the west slopes of the Appalachians. Got up in the 70s before the thunderstorms came through, and got really warm out here across the midsection of the country before the severe weather came in. And later by midweek, we're going to have more showers and thunderstorms going across the south, some heavy rain and severe weather across the south. This storm's going to kick on out of here, and then more storminess coming up. The severe weather, there we are. Little marginal areas up here across the northeast today, and then we're going down to the south for severe weather tomorrow and Tuesday down across the south. Have to watch for some tornado activity with that, as well as the heavy rains across the south too. All right. This I want to show you here. This is the NAO. You can see the NAO is going to take a huge dip. We haven't seen this kind of a dip here since early December. You can see most it was way back beyond this map here. But you can see we really haven't had any blocking at all winter long. That's why part of the reason why we didn't see much of a winter for a lot of people this year. Okay. And you can see the really big dip, and so that this is we're here right now. The first storm is going to be right in here. Then when we get toward this is should be about April 15th. This is a 2-week time period in here, so you can see we have a lot of time where the NAO is going to be very negative, and so somewhere in here we're going to get a storm. I'm going to show you something that GFS might be catching up on in regards to storminess. This is today's storm right now. By this evening, it's heading up into the northern Great Lakes with some snow across the northeast, up here across Maine. Showers and thunderstorms coming in to the midsection of the country. In fact, this is the HRR model for later on this afternoon. You can see some bands of thunderstorms coming through New York and Pennsylvania, and then the rain up across Canada, and there's some snow that's going to break out across parts of Maine. All right. Then Tuesday, we got the rain coming across the south with the thunderstorms down here and severe weather. All right, kind of unsettled across the northeast. It's sort of a puddle of cold air sitting up there. And we get to Wednesday, that storm. You can see now, you see all the storminess out here in the Atlantic. It's all starting to catch up to this blocking pattern starting to show up. All these storms are starting to get sort of stuck out here. Okay, and as we continue, this is by the 7th of April. The GFS now starting to pick up on some coastal storms starting to show themselves. Not a lot of cold air around at this time. Some snow back in here maybe. But it gets worse with time, so that you eventually, this is again, this is when the blocking is really in. So the GFS sees that and really tries to make a big deal out of a storm here, a 975 millibar storm, which would be, it would be a bad storm for the northeastern part of the country. I'm hoping that doesn't happen because, remember, we already got enough problems up in this part of the country right now with the virus going on. Everybody else is in isolation, and then they're going to move the hospital boat up here into the Hudson. So you don't want to see a storm like this coming up. That would not be a very good situation to have. But certainly with this kind of blocking pattern, a storm like this is certainly possible. Okay, when you got this tremendous blocking coming in, as well as the P&A, and with heavy snow up here. So again, you got to keep an eye on this pattern. It could, I know this is a long range GFS, and I'll probably change 150 times now. But my point this morning is that in these blocking patterns, you can get a storm like this happening. And I've been watching everything closely on the European and the GFS and all the other models to see if that's going to happen or not. Okay, so kind of watching and making and just keep an eye on it. That's about it right now. I'm worried it's going to happen. That's my whole thing. I'm worried that we're going to get a big storm before this is all said and done. All right, that's it for now. Meteorologist Herman City.